Once upon a time, there was a man with 2 wives. His first wife fell ill and called her 2 children. "My dear children, I will soon die. Kiss me and say goodbye. Mother, our father's second wife hates us. If she doesn't give us food, what shall we do?" her children asked. "Don't worry," their mother said. "When you're hungry, go into the forest. You'll find someone to feed you there." The mother died, and the 2 boys cried for many days. Then, they went to their father's second wife and said, "Please, we're hungry. Let us eat with you." Their stepmother replied, "You want me to give you food? I don't have enough for my children. Go away, I haven't got anything for you." The younger brother began to cry. "I'm hungry," he said to his older brother. "I want something to eat." His older brother took his hand and said, "Don't worry, remember what our mother said? We'll go into the forest and find someone to feed us there." So, the 2 children went into the forest and found a cow. The cow was very kind to them and gave them food to eat every day. The children were happy and never hungry. The children of the second wife couldn't understand why their stepbrothers were never hungry. "Who feeds you?" they asked. "Why do you go to the forest every day?" One morning, the oldest girl said, "I'm coming with you to the forest today. I want to know where you find your food." Her stepbrothers tried to stop her. "No, don't come. You'll be tired and hungry. We don't do anything in the forest. We have no mother to give us food, so we just walk all day until we're tired." But their sister asked them again and again, so they agreed to take her. They walked about in the forest all day until they came to the home of the cow. The older boy didn't want to tell his stepsister about the cow, he wanted to keep the secret. But his little brother was very hungry and said, "Please, I'll die if I don't have some food. Call the cow and let's eat." So they called the cow, and she came and gave food to the brothers. They ate, and when they got home, their stepsister said to her mother, "I know my brother's secret. There's a cow in the forest that gives them food every day." The next day, the woman went to her husband and said, "You know I'm pregnant, and our new baby will soon be born. I need to eat very good food, if I don't, the baby won't be strong. Bring me the cow from the forest." "What cow?" her husband said. "I know your secret," she said. "I want the cow that feeds your children." Her husband brought the cow from the forest and gave it to his wife. "Kill it," she said. "I must eat its meat to make my baby strong." Her husband tried to argue, but she didn't listen. At last, he agreed to kill the cow. He picked up his knife and cut the cow's throat, but the cow refused to die. "If the cow doesn't die, I will kill your 2 children," the woman said. When the children heard this, they said, "Let the cow die," and she died. The woman tried to skin the cow, but the skin refused to come off the meat. "If this skin doesn't come off the dead cow, I will kill the children," she said. When the children heard this, they said, "Let the skin come off," and the skin came off. The woman put the meat into the pot and tried to cook it, but the meat refused to cook. "If the meat doesn't cook, I'll kill the children," she said. When the children heard this, they said, "Let the meat cook," and the meat began to cook. When the meat was cooked, the woman tried to take the pot off the fire, but the pot didn't move. "If the pot doesn't come off the fire, I'll kill the children," she said. When the children heard this, they said, "Let the pot come off the fire," and it came off. The woman took the meat out of the pot and ate it. The 2 brothers were worried. "Now our stepmother has killed our cow and wants to kill us. We must run away." So they ran away into the forest, where they lost each other. One brother went one way, the other another. Years passed, and the brothers grew up. The younger brother went away, but the older brother stayed near the forest. One day, as the older brother walked near a village, he saw a girl and fell deeply in love with her. She was the daughter of the chief, and he had many daughters, but this one was the most beautiful. The young man began to meet the girl secretly, and she fell in love with him too. There was a war between villages at that time, and every night, enemies came to fight against the village where the chief and his daughter lived. Every night, the young man came to fight for the chief. One day, the chief said to his men, "Who is the stranger who comes every night and fights beside me? I want to meet him. Ask your daughters." His men said, "They will know." The chief told everyone to come to a meeting. When they were all together, he called his daughters and said, "Bring your husbands and lovers here, so I can see them all." All the chief's daughters came with their husbands and lovers, but the young man from the forest, who loved the chief's most beautiful daughter, had smallpox and was very ill. He sat far away from the others and didn't look up at the chief. The chief's beautiful daughter ran up to him and took his hand. "What are you doing?" said the chief. "Come away from that man, he has smallpox." "But father," said the girl, "this is the man who fights beside you every night. He is brave and strong. I love him and want to marry him." The chief was angry when he heard this. "I don't want my daughter to marry a man with smallpox," he shouted. But then he stopped. Everyone was looking at him. "What's the matter?" the chief asked. "Your head, sir," the people said. "Look. It's growing. It's getting bigger and bigger." The chief put his hands up to his head, and it was true. His head was growing bigger and bigger. "Please, father," his daughter said, "let me marry this man. If you don't, your head will grow and grow. If you do, it will become the right size again." Everyone said, "Yes, sir. Let her marry the young man. Do what she says." The chief agreed to the marriage at once. His head stopped growing and became the right size again. Then the young man and the chief's daughter were married and lived happily ever after. But the story doesn't end here. The younger brother, who had gone away, had his own journey. Years passed, and the younger brother wandered through forests and villages, searching for his older brother. One day, he stumbled upon a beautiful garden filled with delicious fruits and vegetables. A wise old man tended the garden. "Welcome, young traveler," he said. "Stay with me, and I'll teach you the secrets of nature." The younger brother learned about herbs, animals, and the magic of the forest. He became skilled in healing and helping others. One day, a messenger from the village where his older brother lived came to the garden. "We need a healer," he said. "Our chief's daughter is ill, and no one can cure her." The wise old man nodded. "Go, young one. Use your skills to help the chief's daughter." The younger brother traveled to the village and found his older brother, now a happy husband. Together, they nursed the chief's daughter back to health. The chief thanked them and asked, "How can I repay you?" The younger brother smiled. "I've found my brother, and that's reward enough." The two brothers reunited, and their bond grew stronger. The brothers lived together, sharing stories and laughter. The chief's daughter recovered, and the village celebrated. The older brother told his wife about his childhood, his stepmother's cruelty, and the magical cow. His wife listened, tears in her eyes. "You've found your brother," she said. "Now, find your father." The brothers decided to find their father. When they reached their childhood village, they saw their father, now old and frail. "Father," the brothers exclaimed. Their father's eyes filled with tears. "My sons, forgive me for not protecting you from your stepmother's cruelty." The brothers forgave their father, and he told them, "I've been searching for you everywhere. I'm proud of the men you've become." The family reunited, and the father lived with his sons and their wives. The brothers built a prosperous life, using their skills to help the village. The stepmother, realizing her past mistakes, apologized and made amends. The family forgave her, and she spent her days making up for lost time. Years passed, filled with love, laughter, and prosperity. The brothers grew old together, surrounded by children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. They told stories of their journey, teaching love, forgiveness, and resilience. Their legacy lived on, inspiring generations to come. The magical cow's kindness was never forgotten, symbolizing hope and provision in times of need. And so, the brothers' story came full circle, a testament to the power of family, love, and redemption.
My name is Anna, and I was 16 when I met Ryan. He had just transferred to our school, and from the moment I saw him, I was captivated. Ryan had dark hair and green eyes that seemed to sparkle with kindness. He was funny, confident, and had a smile that could light up a room. From the very first day, I knew there was something special about him. One afternoon, I noticed Ryan sitting alone in the school courtyard, reading a book. Gathering my courage, I approached him and said, "Hi, I'm Anna. Do you mind if I sit here?" He looked up, surprised, and then smiled warmly. "Sure, I'd love the company," he replied. That day, we talked for hours. We discovered we had so much in common: our love for books, music, and the dreams we had for the future. It felt like I had known him forever. From that moment on, Ryan and I became inseparable. We spent our lunch breaks together, walked home after school, and spent weekends exploring the small town we both called home. One Saturday, Ryan invited me to go to the fair with him. I was thrilled. We spent the day riding the Ferris wheel, playing games, and laughing until our sides hurt. As the sun set and the fair lights began to twinkle, Ryan took my hand. My heart raced, and I couldn't help but smile. That night, as we walked home, hand in hand, I knew I was falling for him. A few weeks later, we were sitting by the river that ran through our town. The air was crisp, and the leaves had started to turn golden. Ryan seemed nervous, and after a long pause, he finally spoke. "Anna, I've been wanting to tell you something," he said, looking into my eyes. My heart fluttered as I waited for his next words. "I really like you, Anna. You're the most amazing person I've ever met." I felt a surge of joy and relief. "I like you too, Ryan," I said, smiling brightly. At that moment, it felt like everything in the world was right. We spent the rest of the day talking about our feelings, our dreams, and the future we imagined together. Ryan became my first boyfriend, and I was his first girlfriend. We were young, but our love felt real and deep. We went on countless dates, explored new places together, and supported each other through school and life. Ryan made me feel special every day. He was always there to listen, to make me laugh, and to remind me how much I meant to him. On my 17th birthday, Ryan gave me a bracelet with a small charm, a heart engraved with our initials. "This is to remind you that I'll always love you no matter what," he said as he fastened it around my wrist. I was so happy I could hardly speak, but my heart was full of love and gratitude. As time passed, Ryan and I faced our first challenge. He found out that his family would be moving to another state because of his dad's job. When he told me, my world felt like it was falling apart. We spent our last days together trying to make the most of every moment, but the sadness was always there, just beneath the surface. On the day Ryan left, we promised to stay in touch. We exchanged letters and phone calls, trying to keep our love alive across the distance. But as the months went by, life got busier, and our contact became less frequent. I missed him every day, his voice, his laugh, the way he made everything better. Eventually, Ryan called me with news that broke my heart. "Anna, I think we need to let go," he said gently. "I still care about you, but we're growing apart, and it's not fair to either of us." I cried that night, feeling the weight of our goodbye, but deep down, I knew he was right. We were both changing, and it was time to move on. In the years that followed, I focused on my studies and began to find new passions. I made new friends, experienced new things, and slowly the pain of losing Ryan faded into a bittersweet memory. I kept the bracelet he gave me, along with the letters we wrote, tucked away in a box. They were reminders of a love that had been pure and true, even if it hadn't lasted forever. As time passed, I went to college and started a new chapter in my life. I met new people and even fell in love again. My heart healed, but Ryan always held a special place in it. He was my first love, after all, and that's something you never forget. One day, out of the blue, I received a letter from Ryan. "Dear Anna," it began, "I hope you're doing well. I've been thinking about you and wanted to thank you for the wonderful times we shared. You'll always be my first love, and I'll cherish those memories forever. Take care, love, Ryan." Reading his letter brought a smile to my face. It was comforting to know that he remembered our love as fondly as I did. Though we had moved on and our lives had taken different paths, the bond we shared would always be a part of who we were. Years later, I met someone new, James. He was kind, caring, and made me laugh in a way that reminded me of Ryan. I told James about my first love, and he understood. He wasn't jealous or threatened. He knew that Ryan would always have a special place in my heart. But my heart had grown, making room for new love for James without forgetting the past. I'm happy now, in love and living a life that I cherish. But I'll never forget my first love. It taught me so much about love, about life, and about myself. Ryan will always be a part of my story, a beautiful memory that shaped who I am today. Love is a journey full of joy, pain, growth, and change. My first love with Ryan was just the beginning, a beautiful chapter in the story of my life. And while new chapters have been written, that first one will always hold a special place in my heart.